Hey guys, Harper Hector here, and a few days ago, IGN, specifically Kelly Plagg, I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce her last name, and Brian Malkowicz, I'm not sure how you pronounce that last name either, so forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but they wrote an article that says 7 changes we want in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and I've been actually meaning to do a vlog and even a written article on my website about changes that I want to see in the future to Pokemon. Now they say the core Pokemon games on the handhelds have been mostly the same, and I'm pretty sure they specifically mean that you're a kid that starts your Pokemon adventure and then you get 8 badges and then sometimes you battle a rival and then you go to the Pokemon League and that's pretty much it, and you're fighting a bad team organization or whatever the heck. That part is pretty much true, although the rival part has changed from game to game. Sometimes your rival is more like your friend, sometimes you have 2 rivals instead of 1 and stuff like that, you know, in Platinum and Diamond and Pearl. Then Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire, your rival is more like a friend. And so that part has kind of changed from game to game. But other than that, there has been a ton of changes throughout Pokemon, and I don't want to get too much on them and saying, oh, you know, they're super wrong, that Pokemon has totally changed over the years, because I think they're specifically talking about that story structure. Because there has been a ton of changes, and they did say that there have been some improvements here and there. So first is save files, which I totally agree with. I think there should be save files, like if you have multiple people in the house and you don't want to buy multiple Pokemon games, you just have multiple save files, and this person saves on this file, this person saves on this file, and stuff like that. But I think they said, the Pokemon company said, that that's kind of hard to do with how they connect the Pokemon games to the internet and how they have contests and stuff like that. I'm sure that they can fix that somehow, but they just haven't yet, and I would love to see save files. Next, they talk about experience share. They mostly talk about experience share from the 6th generation. So in the 6th generation, experience share is a key item instead of like a held item or whatever, kind of like the experience all in the 1st generation. So you turn it on, and all the Pokemon in your party get experience, even if they didn't participate in battle. And they're like, well, what if I want specific Pokemon to level up and not all Pokemon, and then we want to, you know, make sure that we have certain stats for competitive training and all that kind of stuff. Well, you can either throw those Pokemon at the party, or just put those Pokemon, or at least one Pokemon, at the start of the party, and then switch out and to another Pokemon, and then both those Pokemon earn experience. And if you're going specifically for like effort values, then you can use vitamins at the start, you know, the protein and the iron and all that kind of stuff, and then use the experience share and just go after a certain type of Pokemon. And really, I think competitive training and leveling up is super easy in 6th generation onward. I don't think we need some new type of experience share type thingy. Next, they say the PC system. Basically, their complaint is, why do we still have to go to the Pokemon Center to exchange Pokemon? Why can't we just do it on the fly when we're out in the middle of the field or something? And I think that would be awesome if we could just have like some souped up Pokedex and we just have access to a PC system out in the field. Maybe some people would try and argue, oh, that would make the game too easy or too user-friendly or something, I don't know. But I think that would be a great addition to the newer Pokemon games. Next up, they mention Fairy vs. Poison, and of course they say Fairy types were introduced in the 6th generation and Poison type are strong against Fairy types, which is all good, but they say there's not really any super good Poison type Pokemon to battle these Fairy Pokemon. Well, I kind of want to disagree. I think there are some pretty decent Poison type Pokemon. Crobat definitely stand out in my mind. But not just that, a lot of non-Poison type Pokemon still learn Poison type moves and have a good counter to Fairy types. So I don't think that's too much of a problem. But I do want to go a little bit further on Fairy types after I go through this list. So next, HMs. Basically they say hidden moves, or hidden machines I mean. You have to teach them to a Pokemon to get through the game, like Strength to move boulders and Surf to get across water and stuff like that. But they take up a slot in a Pokemon's moveset, and sometimes, most of the time, we don't want that. And I really agree with this, but some people would make the argument that this game is supposed to be centered all around Pokemon, so you need to use your Pokemon to get through the game, like to cut down a bush, or to move boulders, or to surf across the ocean, or whatever. But in the 6th generation, we did have the Eon Flute, which called, you know, Mega Latios or Mega Latias, and then we could just fly over super simply around Hoenn. without using HM Fly, HM2 I believe it is. So there are arguments on both sides. I would like if we could still teach it to Pokemon, but it wouldn't take up the 4 moves in a moveset. But also people would say, yeah man, but Surf is super awesome. It's probably the only awesome move out of all the HMs. And that might be true, so maybe we can just switch that to a TM, or maybe we can just replace that with some other similar water type move or something, I don't know. Because also, a lot of competitive people don't really use Surf, because if you're like in a double or triple battle, it will hurt your teammates, so they might use something like Scald. But I think it also would be kind of cool if you just get a key item, like instead of getting Flash, you get a key item like a lantern or a flashlight or something, and instead of learning Surf, you get a surfboard or something. That's another option, but then again, as I said, people like to use Pokemon to get through the game. Next it says the story structure. It says each game starts you out as a young child seeking to dominate the world of Pokemon. You fight your way through 8 gyms, defeat the Elite Four, battle your rival, and become a Pokemon Master. The basic formula works, but it's incredibly predictable. Optional side quests or deeper story routes in the style of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire's Delta episode would invigorate the Pokemon journey in a much needed way. I don't think the Delta episode was really that in-depth of a story. I do agree that the story in Pokemon X and Y were really lackluster. Some games have more in-depth story, and as I said, the rivals aren't always full rivals in some games. I really liked in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum how you had 2 friends / rivals, whatever, and so all 3 starter Pokemon were taken up by everybody. So that's the part that I really liked. And I was kind of talking about Pokemon, I think at the IGN Anime Club. And by the way, Callie, she's one of the heads, I don't know if you want to call it a head, one of the speakers in the IGN Anime Club too. So she's become a little bit more popular after the Too Much Water fiasco, if you want to call it that. Which I agreed with her pretty much on the whole assessment in her review. It's just the whole Too Much Water tagline rubbed people the wrong way. Anyways, kind of went on a tangent there. I was talking with some people about Pokemon, and they were like, or they showed a picture of Professor Oak battling Red, and then he had a ton of Pokemon, and I remember that there was like some sort of glitch or something like that, or you can use your Game Shark and you can actually battle Professor Oak, because you were supposed to be able to battle him in the original Red and Green, but then they removed it, and you're supposed to be able to battle him after the Pokemon League, I think. And then somebody was like, plot twist, Professor Oak was making you gather all the Pokemon and he was really working for Team Rocket or something like that. And I was like, you know what, that would actually make a really good storyline. Like, what if your professor that you got your starter Pokemon from, you're collecting all these Pokemon and sending them to him? Well, at least in the anime you're sending them to Professor Oak. In the video game you're just sending them to Bill's storage system or whatever. Anyways, what if you're collecting all these Pokemon and then in a plot twist it turns out that guy was the head of the bad organization that you've been fighting throughout the entire storyline? I think that would have been a cool little plot twist or something, but also these games are made for kids sometimes, so it might fry their brains or something. I don't know. Well, I think there are some good kid-friendly games like Kingdom Hearts or whatever that have more complex storylines, so I think they need to do something a little bit more than, definitely more than X and Y. Because that thing, there's barely bits of story here, and then towards the end you just get bombarded with this long cutscene and all the story in one spot, and I was like, seriously? It was just, I didn't like it. And lastly, they say starter Pokemon, Charmander, Squirtle, or Bulbasaur. No matter how you look at it, you've been answering that question for 20 years, and the Pokemon were just a little different each time. Why not let us choose from other types, like Fighting, Ghost, or even Fairy? We'd even settle for Eevee and choose later what type it'll become. So that part, I have talked with other people over the years about maybe doing a different type thing, but it would still have to be a 3 type basis, like this one's strong against this one's strong against this one's strong against this one, so it goes in a full circle, triangle, whatever. So it would be kind of cool, but at the same time, fire, water, and grass, it's just like basic elements, and I think it's they do that because it's simple. And if you start going like fire or fighting, psychic, and ghost or something like that, then it can get really complicated for beginners that are coming to Pokemon. Because remember, some people are still barely coming to Pokemon, and if you throw this harder type system at them, or harder type triangle, then they might not fully understand the whole element type basis. That's just my thoughts. And other than that, I've just been thinking about 2 different updates that I think need to be in Pokemon. One is the fairy type. You know, the fairy type was added in the 6th generation, but if my memory serves or whatever, they didn't add a fairy hidden power type. Because, you know, hidden power can be any of the types except for fairy, because they just added it. So now they need to figure out some IV individual value combo that would be fairy instead of some other type. So they need to add that. And definitely 100%, I don't need to hear no arguments. They need to add HP boosting and reducing natures. They have natures for all other stats, you know, attack up, defense down, special attack up, speed down, or whatever, for attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed, but they have none for for HP. They need to do HP boosting, all the other ones reducing, HP reducing, all the other ones boosting, to be really fair and to have a really good competitive layout for natures. I think they need to add those. That's really all I think that needs to be added. But I had a cousin that said we need to have an autosave function in Pokemon, and I was like, absolutely not. I hate autosaves in pretty much everything. Only in like Skyrim or something I like autosaves, because sometimes the game just freezes and you're just so enthralled with the game or whatever that you just forget to save, and so that autosave, that helps out. But with Pokemon, the game never really freezes and you can save anytime you want. But multiple save files would be good also, in case you wanted to go back or something, or multiple save files, at least, as they mentioned, for multiple people in the same household. So that's all I got to say about this whole, you know, article, and about updates that I think need to happen in Pokemon in the future. So yeah, thumbs up this video if you liked it or appreciated it or whatever, I don't know. Just thumbs up if you agree. Leave a comment though, tell me what you think needs to be added to Pokemon in the 7th generation, or Pokemon Sun and Moon, or any other Pokemon games in the future, because I would like to hear more thoughts on what you guys think should be added to Pokemon, because I only thought of 2 things, you know, hidden power, fairy, and then the HP boosting natures. So yeah, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more Pokemon vlogs or any other type of video game vlogs. And I do video game gameplay, strategy guides, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to see any of that, definitely subscribe, because more is going to be coming in the future.